very true, very true. I completely understand the kind of new normals that we are all going to now encounter. So my next question in continuance of the earlier one would be, then what is the people's processes, the changes that you see in the processes, in the culture, in this uncertain journey to the new normal, Mr. Adhir?
A good question. I don't think we will have all the answers, but I think from a development of a perspective, let's look at some of the key tenets that will actually need to be changed probably. More and more, I think we will see insertion of technology in all processes of HR. I mean, first of all, take the infrastructure development. Like, we never had tools like Zoom and Teams from Microsoft or any other player like Cisco, the WebEx, etc. So the core tenet will be to develop the infrastructure to handle the work from home issues. Also, from a process perspective, we will need to relook at the way we are operating the entire value chain of talent, right from recruiting to separation. And if it is to be contactless, every process in HR, to begin with the process of recruiting, how can you actually make this contactless? There will be virtual interviews, virtual assessments that would happen as part of the entire offering from an organization standpoint. Therefore, more or less, it will be a contactless process of recruiting people that was there, but it will get more pronounced and more reinforced, so to speak. The other important part is, which I alluded in the earlier question also, is the performance processes. Performance processes will actually get more outcome-based rather than input-based. And therefore, what are my measures? Do I need to change my measures that I have for my performance processes? Do I actually need to look at what are my systems and processes to monitor performance in a virtual world? And this virtual world is going to be remaining for some more time, as I guess. Also, how do I develop frequent contacts with this virtual employees? So therefore, what are my mechanisms to look at how do I actually keep connected with this virtual environment? How do I keep connected with what's happening on a day-to-day, monthly, or a quarterly basis with my folks who are operating in a distributed environment? Also, the important part, which I feel is going to be key from a process perspective, is how do I reinforce the tenets of the critical tenets of my culture? So that's a big push that the HR leaders, and not just the HR, beyond HR, the business leaders will have to actually give to sustain, grow, and develop my culture in these trying times. The other piece is basically, as organizations will change from a model perspective, some of them will, like a classic example was Swiggy, for example. They were a food delivery company, but they have now gone into delivering essentials. So these model changes will also call for different changes to HR process and systems. The other important part, which I feel is the entire planning processes of the organization will get truncated. There will be no longer 5-year planning processes, 3 to 5 year planning process as we had in the yesteryears. Probably they'll be truncated to probably a year and even shorter. So how do I develop monitoring systems to look at quarterly performance? How do I develop frequent check-ins? What is that I need to develop as a process and system to monitor this on an ongoing basis? So a couple of things which I feel which are going to be important from an HR perspective is that build that camaraderie in the system, build that team spirit again, because virtually working is not something which is part of the DNA for most of the leaders. So build systems of learning and development where people actually and the leaders actually get trained to handle some of the nuances or some of the critical elements of how do I actually handle a virtual team, etc. So many organizations are not geared for that. So they will have to gear this on an ongoing basis. These are some of the issues and suggestions I have for the workforce or the people process of the future that we probably need to relook at. The other important part is, which I feel organizations will have to relay an emphasis on, is the fact that the war for talent will be very, very pronounced as the economy starts opening up, as the economy starts building up. Therefore, the experience that all of us as organizations have given to our employees when this lockdown happened, for retention strategies for the future are going to be key and important. So developing retention strategies and therefore talent development strategies are going to be key for the future of HR and building the people processes very, very fundamentally strongly and solidly, so to speak.